Welcome you to the session. I hope everybody is doing fine. So we are back with another BBKP, that is Big Bull Ki Pathshala, and we have a very, very interesting topic planned with you today. It is something that is in talk with students for quite a while now. It has been the talk of year 22 because the exam took place for the very first time. So we are here with a session dedicated to CUET UG 22, the exam that took place recently. And I came across a lot of speculations because, as I said, the exam took place for the very first time. So people have a lot of doubts. Students are in a lot of dilemma. A lot of questions are going unanswered. So we thought of, organizing a session especially dedicated to CUET to answer all of your doubts, all of your questions to our best capability, right? Because nobody is entirely 100% sure about the entire thing since the exam is taking place for the very first time, or rather took place for the very first time, right? So we will try to answer all of your questions. Make sure that you're posting your questions in the chat box so that we are able to answer them, right? And all of your queries we are able to answer them basically, right? So make sure to comment in the comment section. All right, so before I begin, before I call along the guests that we have today, let me give you a little brief about the CUET exam. Until and unless you are not living under a rock, I'm pretty sure everybody would be aware about what CUET is. But still, if there's somebody who's not really aware about the exam, let me give you a quick review about it. So CUET UG exam was conducted for the very first time this year by NTA. It was conducted to get admissions, especially into Delhi University and other central universities also that were associated with this exam this year. The exam took place from July till August. It started from 15th of July and it was extended towards, I think, 20th or 30th of August, right? So that was the duration of the exam. There was a lot of questions. There were a lot of, confusion amongst the students since the exam took place for the very first time, right? So now that the CUET result is out, it came out last week, right? And if you have, I think you all must have already seen your scorecards. The scores were available to in two different columns, right? First was, it was available to us in the form of percentile, and on the right side, right next to it, we had the normalized score. That was the score sheet, scorecard shared with all of you, right? So I'm pretty sure all of you would have seen that. Now, especially for the admissions into Delhi University, we have this entire concept going on. Let me brief you a little bit about it. So if you're somebody who wants to get admission into Delhi University, there is this entire procedure called the CSAS that is going on to get admissions into Delhi University. So what is that CSAS? It stands for Common Seat Allocation System. It is the system which is basically used by Delhi University this year to allocate seats, to allocate admissions to the students in the different campuses to the different courses falling under the branch of Delhi University, falling under the umbrella of Delhi University this year. So CSAS, basically the entire process is going to take place in 3 phases. We have 3 phases in which this entire system would take place. In phase 1, you will be registering yourself for the entire CSAS process. Okay. So registration basically began for the same from 12th of September and would continue till 3rd of October. So you're supposed to register yourself. It is basically you showing your interest, that you're interested in getting admissions into Delhi University through the CSAS process. Okay, that will be phase 1. It will be ending by 3rd of October. Second phase will begin from 26th of September, wherein you are supposed to fill in your preferences. Now, what do we mean by that? What do we mean by filling in the preferences? It means that whatever courses that you are interested to get admissions in, whatever colleges that you are seeking to get admissions, you're supposed to fill in the preference of the same in a form. Okay, so my suggestion here to you, of course, the phase 2 is yet to start. It will be beginning from Monday. So you do have couple of days still to choose which course you want to fill in and which college you want to apply for. One thing that you should keep in mind, and my suggestion to you would be to choose as many combinations and as many colleges as you can. Choose the maximum of these 2 that you can, just to be on a safer side and just to have an alternative plan for the same. So while you're filling in the preference, first of all, make sure that you're checking your eligibility. Make sure that you're checking your eligibility criteria, which will obviously depend on the combination of the domains that you chose while appearing for your CUET exam. Okay. Uh, Now, for example, if you're somebody who had a combination of PCM, that is physics, chemistry, and maths, so you're eligible to get admissions into chemistry honors, physics honors, maths honors if maths was also a subject, right? Apart from that, zoology, and there are many other courses offered by different colleges falling under Delhi University. So make sure that you're doing an in-depth search about it, right? Make sure that you are aware about each course and the availability, and most importantly, the selection criteria, the basic eligibility that they are using. Okay. So you have time to research, use this weekend to research the courses and the colleges that you're eligible for. So if I talk about Delhi University, the campuses majorly are divided into three. You have three portions. You have North Campus, you have South Campus, and you have Off Campus. So accordingly, you can choose the colleges and apply for that in phase 2. Then will begin the phase 3. In phase 3, basically, you will be getting your seats allotted. It is the allocation process that would begin, which obviously will begin after 10th of October, or maybe from 10th of October, wherein the different merit lists of different colleges would be coming out, wherein seats would be offered to you, and you accordingly can choose the seat. So let me give you a little brief as to how it is going to work. Of course, we have a little bit of time for phase 3, but you should be aware about it in advance so that you're prepared for it, right? So let's say that in round 1, you were offered a seat in an XYZ college from Delhi University. So while that seat has been offered to you, you have an option of either selecting the seat or leaving the seat. Okay, you can do either of these two things. Okay, if you're choosing that one particular seat, you cannot choose a seat offered to you by any other college in the same round. So per round, you can select only one seat, or you can freeze only one seat. Okay. Let's say that there is another round of counseling taking place. Let's call it round 2. So in round 2, let's say that there was some other seat offered to you, and this seat was apparently of a better college than what was offered to you in round 1. In that case, what you can do is you can upgrade your seat from round 1 to round 2. That means you will be letting go of the seat offered to you in round 1, and you'll be freezing or upgrading your seat in round 2. This is how the allocation of the seat, the entire process in phase 3 is going to take place. Now here, what you need to keep in mind is, let's say that one seat was offered to you, neither did you choose it, nor did you reject it. In that case, that seat would stand cancelled. That seat would be considered not taken. So you need to be very wise about it. You need to be very accurate about it as to what seat you're choosing and what seat you're letting go. So apart from this, this is basically an overall analysis of the CSAS for Delhi University. As far as the other central universities are concerned, they will be opening their own windows for applications. You have to be very vigilant about the same as to which one is opening. Like for example, BHU recently opened its registration, I think day before yesterday. So make sure that you are on toes, checking the notifications coming out for all other central universities. For Delhi University, I've already given you a brief. Apart from whatever I've told you so far, if you have any other questions, feel free to post them in the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Okay, so that was all about the Gyan. Let's call in the guests that have been patiently waiting to speak and were waiting for me to shut up so that they can start their talking. I was saying, so we have with us Swanami Ghosh. Let me tell what she has scored. She scored 100 percentile in biology. In general test, she managed to score 99 percentile. In chemistry, she scored 95 percentile. English, she had 98 percentile. Math, she had 99.6 percentile. I mean, I myself am a little intimidated right now. So let's welcome Swanami. Hi, Swanami. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to you. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am, and the audience. I am Swanami Ghosh. I hail from West Bengal. Currently, I gave the CUET 2022 and aspire to get a nice college in Delhi.
Okay, Swanami. So now that you are on the other side, that means you have appeared for the exam, how does it feel? How is the feeling? How is the josh right now? If I put it that way.
It's nice to to have the decent score, but also there is a nervousness that's freaking me. Like which college would I get, uh, and what course would I get?
Right, right. Okay. So what was the course combination that you chose, Tsunami? What were your domains that you chose? I mean, I've given some of them. I've told this course, but overall, in totality, how many subjects did you have, and what domains did you choose?
I am basically a science student, so I chose English, physics, chemistry, maths, bio. That's PCMB, and I chose general test as the section 3.
Okay. So any specific reason to choose this particular combination?
Ma'am, I had these subjects, and it was told that you were only eligible to give the exam which you had in your 12th standard board exam. So I had this all the subjects, and I appeared for all of them. I also had finance as my sixth subject, and I also appeared for it. It was one
Okay.
of the domain subjects.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So now that your CUET result is out, what are the colleges that you're targeting, and what are the courses that you're targeting as of now? Now that we know that we can only make assumptions, right? So what are the colleges and the courses that you're targeting as of now?
First of all, I am targeting Delhi University, the North Campus colleges. So, if I get a North Campus college, that would be the grace of God. And the courses are that the courses that I aim for are firstly microbiology and biomedical sciences. I love biology, so that's the thing. And secondly, I have a good percentile in maths, so I also aim for uh, BA economics if I don't get microbiology.
BA economics. Okay, but you did not have. I'm sorry, economics is a subject, right? So do you think you will get that? You will be eligible for it?
Yes, ma'am. The eligibility in DU is maths, English, general test, and any two domain subjects where you have scored good
Mhm.
marks.
Okay, so you have an inclination towards economics as well. It's like very different from PCMB, right? So how come this inclination out of nowhere?
Ma'am, I had some friends, there were many friends in my school who had PCB and economics. They didn't wish to take mathematics as a subject, so I saw their books. I spoke with them, and it seemed to be a very interesting subject to me. Moreover, I had a part of economics in my ninth and 10th subjects when I was giving my boards. So I have a brief concept. So that's why I am a bit inclined. And it has variety of scopes. You can go to MBA and you can do CAT. That's nice.
Right, right. It has become so easy for you people. Yeah, I remember when I was in my 12th standard, we did not have so much of flexibility. You know, the entire CUET system, everything is so new, but it's also, I feel, a development and increment in the education system. It's really good. It's really empowering, I feel, to the students. And also at the same time, I feel it's like very, very fair. You have a common criteria on the basis of admissions instead of doing it on your 12th standard board basis or whatever. I think it's a better, it's a unique way, and at the same time an equal way of treating everyone equally, right? So that's really good. And I remember you saying that biology is your favorite subject. I'm pretty sure, dude, you scored 100 percentile in it. It's a big deal. I mean, I remember I sucked at science. I'm a former student myself, so it takes, I think, an eternal power to be good at biology, to be very honest, Manami. So that's really, really great. It's amazing. So now that we know what your targets are, now that we know that what the result is out, can you share with us and of course our viewers, what strategy specifically did you use? What was your how did you prepare for this exam, considering that it was occurring for the very first time? We did not have any any things to follow up to or something like that? So what was your basic strategy? How did you prepare for the exam?
First of all, the boards extended till June, so the preparations were going on. So I had my concepts clear with NCR. So whatever exam you give, whatever stream you are from, I think NCRT is like a holy book. So you can learn everything from it, and there are of course some advanced questions. So CUET was I didn't knew what CUET was like. I took this course in Hitbullseye, the crash course. So I did the mocks, and the mocks were pretty good. They were moderate to hard questions, and there were also easy questions. So you can
Right.
choose right. So and then you can understand what your standards are. And as compared to that, when the NTA released their own mocks for CUET, that was pretty easier as compared to the mocks I appeared from earlier. That gave me idea. So that helped me in a way. And if you say of strategy, because as I said before, NCRT is pretty good thing. You can learn from it and then give as much mocks you can prior to the examination. CUET happens after the boards, and you can have enough time for giving mocks, analyze your mocks, and stay calm on the day.
Right.
And during the examination, you have to like break up the questions, and you have to be clear what you have to attempt. There are pretty number of questions. There are 50 questions. Like for the domain subjects, there are 50 questions. So you have to attempt 40 questions, and you have a time of 45 minutes. So you have to understand what questions you have to answer. So there are two way of answering. Either you go through all the questions initially, and then you choose which questions to answer. Or the way I opted was like 40 questions. So 45 minutes was there. So I would go through all the questions first. I would take the time of 40 minutes. I would go through all the questions. I would attempt all the questions, and then I would mark for review the questions that I would return, or the questions that I think I can answer, and I would reject the questions that I can't, because the questions range from easy to moderate. So you have to choose what is easier for you, what you can answer. And mark for review is a very good thing that is there in CBT mode, that helps you to recognize the questions that you can attempt further, and then you attempt it the last 5 minutes. That helps in utilizing the time limit given, because it's a very short amount of time.
Right, right. I understand. So whatever, like whenever we have sessions for other subjects also or other exams also, the most common suggestion, or I think the most important thing and yet the most underrated thing that students do is not give mocks. Mocks are extremely, extremely important. They can help you build your strategy, right? It of course helps you know your strengths and weaknesses, and through mocks you basically can formulate a strategy that works best for you, that works uh, I mean, it would work differently for different people. Like a strategy that might work for me might not work for somebody else. So you have to figure it out for yourself. What works the best for you? What are your stronger domains? What are your so-so domains? And what are the domains that you are really bad at, right? And that knowledge, that self-awareness comes from giving as many mocks as possible. So yeah, and of course you mentioned about the courses provided, I mean the content provided to you by Hitbulls. I'm pretty sure that must also have been of utmost use for you, right? Okay,
Yes,
Sonami.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Specifically for general tests, I
Mhm.
was very weak in GK, so that was very helpful for general test, and it had logical reasoning. So giving mocks was like improving what you have already learned.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So my next question for you, Sonami, would be how did you manage your time? I mean, I'm pretty sure you must also have been preparing for your board exams, right? While you were preparing for CUET. So how did you strike a balance between both of these preparations? How did you manage your time? And I'm pretty sure that you must have had some relaxation time also, because you cannot study all the time, right? Because the same type of subjects repeating again and again. So, what was your way of chilling? And at the same time, how did you manage your time?
Yes, CUET was announced pretty late, just before the boards. So I used to give some amount of time while preparing for boards. There was a lot of gap between two examinations.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to take like the first 2 days. I used to do practice the MCQs that would help me in CUET, and that would also help me in building the revising the concepts which are going to appear for boards. And after the boards were completed, I got enough time for giving the mocks. And CUET also extended for about like a month, so you get a lot of time when you are giving your mocks, analyzing your mocks. And CUET has that option that you can choose the subject that you can appear for the first, you will appear this subject, then this subject. So that helps.
Right, right. I'm sorry. So that's really well said, Tsunami. That makes all the sense in the world. So another common question that I heard from students, or another common speculation that students had, what was the source of these questions, right? And what was the breakup of the questions? Because considering that the exam took place for the very first time, that the syllabus was wide open, what was according to you, because you have attempted the exam, what was the source of different questions according to you, and what was the breakup of the questions? If you could just elaborate it section wise a little bit for us.
Source of questions was NCERT in the subjects, domain subjects. In
Mhm.
English, it was reading comprehension. Then figures of speech, these basic grammatical things,
Mhm.
like normal other exams. And general test was logical reasoning. If you have a fair idea of attempting easy logical reasoning questions and quantitative aptitude, then you can score well, I think.
Okay,
These the basic things of quantitative aptitude, like time, speed, distance, work,
right.
and ports and streams. So these are the things.
All right. ठीक है. Great. So, what was the difficulty level of exam according to you, Sonami? Do you think, like, if I talk section wise, so section one where we had language. So, according to you, did you think it was difficult, easy, medium, or how? What was the level according to you of section one? If I specifically talk about.
Section was not difficult.
Okay.
The comprehensions were easier, and you have to some of the questions were trickier in the comprehension, reading comprehensions. So you have to like think twice before answering. Some of the options were uh, like they were contradictory, and they were also conflicting. So
Right.
you have to think twice before attempting the question. And rest grammar were less, but more were vocabulary and figures of speech. In the paper I attempted, there are different states obviously. So
Yeah.
so you can uh, understand that. But the fact is that the way I attempted it was easy,
Okay. And if
and some questions were tricky.
I'm sorry, please continue. Yeah.
No, no,
So, if I talk about session two, wherein you had your domains, what about that? What was the difficulty level of section two according to you?
the questions of maths were easy,
Mm-hmm.
but they were more theoretical based. Like the students keep the theory parts.
Right, right.
So, like the definition parts and all, or the easier parts. So, you have to be sure about your theory. And biology, this is subject I scored well, I think. That was the questions were more of there were many comprehension based questions in the paper I attempted. So you have there were if you even if you don't know what you have read, if the questions are out of the context of your book, then you can relate with the comprehension. The options were not direct, but you can relate. If you read the comprehension given and if you read the options given, you can relate. So some of them were tricky, rest were easy to moderate.
Okay. And what were the type of questions? Were they all MCQs, or were they short type questions or objective questions? What were the type of questions in section two specifically?
All questions were answered. There were no short type.
They were all MCQs. Okay, great. So that would have been easier, right? To have multiple options. Okay, so if I talk about the third section, that was GT. Of course, it is not mandatory for everyone. It's a choice if you want to appear for the general test exam or not. So how did you, first of all, my question is, how did you prepare for general test? Did you read newspaper or the factual thing? How did you prepare for static and the current, both of them?
Okay, general, as I said before, I had this crash course of Hitbullseye.
Mhm.
So, so I had the classes. I got classes of the general test and uh, both the mathematical section and the general knowledge section.
Right.
So I personally am very weak in general knowledge. So I used to listen to those weekly snippets and those uh, the monthly magazine that was given there, a
Mhm.
compilation was given, so you can easily read that. You can choose the specific points and you can read that, and added to that you can read any kind of newspaper that would enhance your knowledge. But I think for current affairs the weekly snippets are the best, or the monthly compilation.
Okay, all right. Any which way it is said that, like, you should not refer to a lot of sources when you're preparing for GT, because it can be extremely, confusing. So you have to be extremely dedicated and consider one source only entirely and focus on that. Also, what I feel a challenge for students in general test can be the retaining thing. We had an entirely dedicated session on general test, the previous BBKP, wherein we had our own faculty on board, and he told you how you can prepare for current and static GK. You can refer to that particular video if you have any queries about the GT preparation. Because see, the GK portion pretty much remains the same irrespective of what exam you're preparing. Because current affairs is current affairs, whether it is for UG or PG, it won't change, right? So the strategy part you can pick it up from that particular video, right? So okay, so these were about these three domains. So do you think the general test, that means section 3, was difficult, or was it something like if you have normally prepared about it, you can attempt it, or is it like difficult that you have to put in like an extra effort for the preparation? How would you classify it?
It was not very difficult, that you have to put very much effort. You can put a bit effort and you can score well.
Right, right, right.
And the questions of general knowledge, they were mostly based on current affairs. There were very less questions of static. I think I got in the paper I got two questions from geography or political science,
All right.
and most of them were from current affairs.
All right. Okay. So if I talk about statistics, so there were a lot of people, students in labs, who appeared for the CUET exam in UG this year. So of course, and the exam was conducted in the CBT mode, that is the computer based test mode. So of course, it was not an easy task to handle this entire thing in such a grand manner, but NT was able to do it. So while you were appearing for the exam, Tsunami, did you face any technical error, any technical issue, whether with the internet or with the system, anything else at all when you were appearing for it? And if yes, then how was it handled? How was it taken care of?
Yes, I faced the technical glitches. I faced most of the problems in CUET. Like my first paper was on 4th August first law.
Mhm.
So my center was changed in the morning. I got a mail that my center is changed.
Mhm.
And I was very lucky that my center was not very far away from my previous center. It was just a kilometer away. So I was very lucky in that case. But then when I went to that center, my exam was delayed by 1.5 hours. So there was some server issues. And then the exam started. I gave my English paper, my fine arts paper, and then I was going to give my general test paper. That paper I couldn't give because when I started the examination, the left hand side was there were question numbers and the timer was running and the page was blank. There was only one thing written that was marked for review. Neither I could exit the session of examination nor I could attend it. So I called the invigilators and they said, "Don't worry, your exam will be retaken or you will be informed about something. Nothing would happen." So they took the information, and when I returned home, I mailed the NTA. There was a slot given, a mail ID given for reporting your grievances,
Mhm.
and I mailed there,
Mhm.
and I mailed there, and I got a date for reappearing the examination. If an examination was rescheduled for giving the test. And I don't know why, but I was rescheduled even after I gave the test.
So it was a little chaotic. I'm pretty sure you must be scared when you saw that mark for review part on the screen and no question paper anywhere. You must be really scared, right?
Yes, I was like, I ran out of any feelings. I was like, what is this?
And
I told them, change my system. If there is any problem in the system, please give me another system.
I can imagine. I mean, we remember like we people we went for like when the first slot of exam was over on 15th of July, we went out and we asked students their experience. The very first slot that appeared for CUET, we did a live. That was a fun day. So there were students coming out after giving exams, and when they went in, they were like really scared because they didn't know what to expect. But when they were coming out, they were like relaxed. कि उतना मुश्किल नहीं था जितना हमने सोचा. It was like pretty amazing. And then of course there are also a couple of students where they did face a technical issue, because of course you can't predict technical errors. It can happen anywhere, right? So they were compensated for the time. They were given that extra time that was wasted while, but then it does affect your mental stability, right? When you are in a zone of giving exams and then something like this happens and then there is a gap, so it can be a little bit challenging. But I'm pretty sure with next time when the next CUET would happen, the things will become more secure and more organized by the next time, right? So, if we talk about the overall experience, Swanami, how was your overall experience of the exam, of this entire process for that matter? Now, also we are in phase one of, since you are targeting DU, so you must have registered yourself for the CSAS process. So, how does it feel? Do you feel mature yet out of school, taking care of such things at such a horizon? How does it feel?
I still can't believe that I passed 12th standard and I'm going to college.
Right.
Like I gave my 10th standard examination. Then COVID came like a wave of jhatka. It gave a jhatka, and then I gave my boards, and now I have to go out of home.
Yeah, I know. I mean, especially for your batch and the batch earlier to yours, for you people, the corona time was there, right? So you have seen it real closely affecting your studies, and suddenly switching to online from offline when you were going to school regularly and everything. So of course it would have been real challenging for you, but I'm pretty sure that people are have come out of it and have scored decent score. I mean, look at you, received such a good score. So it's all good, right? It's there's a saying in English, survival of the fittest kind of. It is the same kind of a situation. Either you survive or you give up. So you have to keep on going, right? Okay, so my next question for you, Tsunami, would be, of course, when you have had come across about, you heard about the CVT exam, and you must have started preparing for it and everything, all the precautions that you would have taken care of and all the strategies that you would have followed. So there must have been certain speculations that you had about the exam, certain thinking, certain way in which you must have perceived the exam would be. So, what were those speculations, and how many of those speculations were actually real when you actually appeared for the exam on the day of exam? So, what was the reality and what was fiction in this entire situation of CVT exam?
Speculations. I when I heard about CUET, it was like a savior because I thought that it would give opportunities to the students who don't score 99% because they are from different boards, they are from different streams.
Right.
So they get equal opportunities for getting subjects, and that too in the uh, colleges like Delhi University.
Mhm.
So generally, prior to CUET, students who didn't get a very high score in boards, they wouldn't have got admission in Delhi University. So that was the thing that is happening right now. The scores are nice. And secondly, when the basis of examination shifted from boards to CUET, I was not very sure, but I speculated that the exam won't be that harder. That it won't let students go in Delhi University. It would be something that would be balanced with that can be balanced with the boards.
Mhm. Right, right. That's true. Okay, so Tsunami, when your result came out and it's come out recently only, so what was your parents' reaction when they saw your score? Like you have scored such a decent score. What was the reaction? I'm really excited to know. I mean, whenever we have a topper on board, I love to hear what the parents' reaction was because I know till 12th standard, parents are really keen. They look forward to everything that is going on in the child's life. So, what was their reaction when they came across your result?
They were very happy. They were more tense, but they suppressed their tension, their nervousness. But when the results came out, I saw the result in the morning, and I woke up in early morning and I told that I have got this 100% tomorrow and 99 percentile in maths. So my mom and dad both were happy very much. And but still, after expressing all their happiness, they said that you could have scored 100 percentile in maths.
There's always more, huh? Even if you do get 100, what more can you get after 100 percentile? I mean, but parents, they don't have, they want more. I know that because they expect so much, they're like, Hamara bacha hi star hai, kind of a situation, right? Okay. Great, great. So now that we are done with the result, we have discussed the subject, sorry, the exam pattern, we have discussed the difficulty level. The another obvious question that a lot of students would have, because you all are facing the same kind of a situation right now, is what to do next. So currently, what are you doing, Swanami? How are you taking care of the entire CSAS process? If you could, in your words, elaborate the process to the students, maybe that will make more sense, because you are facing the same kind of a situation, so you can basically get you can make out, आप ज़्यादा समझ पाएंगे क्या हो रहा है, what are they able to, you can actually relate to them better, right? So what is the process now that the CUET results are out?
Now, as far as Delhi University has announced, there are three phases, as you have said before. So now the first phase is going on. You have to apply and register for the university, desired university. Most of them has opened. I have applied for Delhi University and BHU. And then the preferred colleges that would start in phase two. So till now, phase one is nothing but just registering. Phase two, I think, is the part of making decisions.
Right, right. So in phase two, have you decided what are colleges, like the colleges that you're targeting? Would you only be filling the preferences for them, or would you be filling the preferences for others also just as a backup?
Yes, though I desire for the colleges and North Campus, still I would I would register for all the colleges in North Campus and then South Campus and then off campus colleges.
Okay, so there's
And
one important thing. Sorry, yes, please continue. Yes, Vanami.
ma'am, no, nothing. I was telling that and then DH.
Okay, right. So one more important thing that you people need to keep in mind is when you are in phase two, when you're filling your preferences in phase two, the sequence in which you fill in the preferences is also very, very important. Like the college or the course that you're giving your first preference would be considered your first preference only, and then second preference and third preference. So make sure that all the best colleges, you're putting them as your first preference, or you're putting them in the top of the list, because the order in which you choose your preferences is going to affect your seat allocation in phase 3. Let me put it this way. I know that all the UG students, you must not have applied, or you must not have filled applications for any other competitive exam, but I still would want to give an example of that, because I think you will be able to relate to it. So whenever we are filling in a competitive exam, and when you're supposed to fill in the location, so it asks you three preferences. In some exams they ask you five preferences or two preferences. The first preference of place that you fill is the one which is closest to your house. The second preference you fill, which is comparatively far away from your house. right? And the third one, which you might be able to just as a backup. So of course, when you are getting places, when you're getting your venues for the exams, majority of the times the place that you filled in as your first preference is your examination hall, is the place, is the venue for your exam. It is the same way for this also. In phase 2, when you are filling in the preferences, make sure that you're filling them in a proper sequence. The preference one that you're filling has to be the one, has to be that one college that you actually want to get into. And then last preferences, let's say the third preference or the fourth preference or fifth preference, have to be those colleges which are backup according to you, that just in case you did not get into the first or second preference, keep them as a backup. Because if I talk about statistics, there are around 19 to 20,000 students this year who have scored 100 percentile. The competition is dense, right? And of course, the seats in Delhi University and which way are going to be limited. Of course, then there are categories and there are other specifications also. So accordingly, there might be a chance that not a lot of seats are left out for you. So in that way, whenever you're filling preferences from 26 September, when the window will open, make sure that you have analyzed the preferences very carefully. And the same thing is with courses also. So courses also, preference wise, the order matters. So make sure that you are keeping that in mind while you're going ahead with it. All right. So Swanami, what are your future plans now? I mean, of course, I'm pretty sure that you must be looking forward to getting into a good DU affiliated college, hopefully in North Campus. But what are your plans after graduation? Do you have any short plan ready as of now, or are you the one like me who goes with the flow kind of a person? What are your future plans now?
Still now, if I get a good college in microbiology or biomedical sciences, I might do research, further research and PhD. Uh, if I don't get biology or biomedical sciences, if I get economics, then I would go for
Okay, so is there a particular designation that you're looking forward to work at? Like, for example, the people who pursue medical, they want to be doctors. So do you have like any such specification in your mind, any specific designation? Do you want to get into corporate, or do you have that much of clarity with you as of now? I know you're too young for it, but I just wanted to know, maybe there's certain people who have planned it. So are you one of those people?
Yes, if I get into biomedical sciences or microbiology, then I would go into research and I would try to become a scientist.
That's really good. Yeah, that's amazing, Swanami. All right. So, of course, there are people who will be appearing for the CUET exam next year. The people who are in their 12th standards now, they would be looking forward to, listening to the experience of people like you who have appeared for the exam this year, who have gone through the entire process, and of course, the after exam processes as well. So, if you are to give any feedback or any suggestions to the students who are supposed to appear for the exam next year, what would be the suggestions that you'd want to give? What would be the feedback? I mean, learning from your experiences, what are the things that according to you one should do and one should avoid? Learning from the mistakes that perhaps you must have made when you were in that phase. So, what are those suggestions that you'd like to give?
Yes. First of all is stay calm and prepare for the examination. Don't take too much stress because as well as I know I have given the examination, the paper was not very tough. So you can go through it, but prepare for a bit higher level because this time many have got the 100% right. So maybe next time the paper is a bit tough. And secondly, uh, give mocks as many as you can. That's the best suggestion I think that anyone can give. Give as many mocks as you can and stay calm during the examination. Maybe you have some technical glitch like this year, maybe you don't have, but expect for the worst and prepare for the best.
Yeah, so that's the takeaway. Expect for the worst and prepare for the best. That should be your motto when you're preparing for the exam. So, of course, now the people who will be appearing for the exam next year would have a point of reference. They would have something to look back to, interviews like these, or the experiences of the ex CUET exam takers, something like that, right? So any competitive exam that you're preparing for, and we tell that to all of us students, all of the people, irrespective of what exam you're preparing. First of all, the first and the most important thing that is important is the strategy that you follow. So make sure that you have a well planned strategy. Second most important thing is consistency. Okay, whether it is a IPM exam that you're preparing for, or a CUET exam that you're preparing for, any other exam, competitive exam that you're preparing for, consistency is very, very important. A lot of people tend to lose the consistency. They tend to get demotivated or influenced, or however, whatever word you want to put ahead of it. But consistency is the key. Perseverance is extremely important appearing for any competitive exam. Third, of course, you will feel grown up really soon, because when you're in school, you are in a protective shield. You have your parents to fall back to, or people to guide, school teachers spoon feeding you, stuff like that. But once you give an exam like CUET, you are entering the real world where you are on your own. You have to fight your battles on your own. So you have to be self motivated. I feel that's extremely, extremely important. Self motivation has to be there. You cannot be harsh on you all the time, right? That's why I asked Swanami that, what was your things, what did you do to chill while you were preparing for the exam. So chilling is also important. You cannot be harsh on you all the time. And as she said, the exam was not that difficult. It might be, but that does not mean that हम prepare ही नहीं करेंगे कि exam बहुत easy है. It might be difficult the next time, so you don't have to beat yourself up for the same thing, right? And third and the most important thing, and I think a logical strategy here, if I were somebody who was in the 12th standard and I was supposed to prepare for a CVT exam, my proper strategy would have been that I would study my boards only properly, so that I'm automatically preparing for the CVT exam also, because the syllabus is pretty much the same, and you are supposed to score good in your 12th standard as well, right? So you can do that while do multitasking. No, when you're preparing for your board exams, make sure that you're giving your 100% there, that you are attempting all the topics, studying all the topics in depth, so that you don't have to put in an extra effort for CVT. Of course, for general test, you might have to put in a little bit effort for the language part. But then again, arts is and everything we have been doing for a very long time. It should not be that much of a challenge. So even if you do have to put, let's say 20, 25, 30% of your effort towards GT and language, it is worth it. And another important thing, make sure that you choose your domains very, very carefully, because that is going to be your selection criteria. That is something that is going to reflect on you choosing your courses, choosing your colleges, right? So make sure that you are choosing such a combination which works for all the colleges. That will, of course, be clear to you. We'll discuss about that once the CUET next year would be appearing. But these are some of the things that the pioneering batch of CUET 23 probably can keep in their minds. Now, talking about the people who did appear for the CUET exam now, who are hustling right now for the college admissions, stay calm. It's very, very important. I think Tsunami would have the same suggestion. Yes, Tsunami, what would you suggest to the people like you who have appeared for the CUET exam? What suggestion would you like to give to them?
Just wait for the colleges and practice your hobbies right now. You have enough time. You have enough time for chilling. You can watch movies. You can stay calm, because once you go into college, you have a lot of pressure. Then you have no time for chilling. You have to be career focused. You have to run behind you.
Right, right. So यही है उमर. What is the song, no? The Gil Kapoor song. Anyway, so let's not get there. Let's not get into suggestion that I would want to give to people who have appeared for the CVT exam already and are in the process of getting admissions into Delhi University. First thing that you should know, if you have not appeared for CUET this year, if you did not register yourself for the CUET exam, you are not eligible to get admissions into Delhi University UG courses this year. So keep that in mind. Okay, and I think it is something that is very obvious, but I still would want to state it. If you have not appeared for CUET this year, you are not eligible to get admissions into Delhi University this year. Okay, secondly, make sure that you're registering yourself for phase one, that is CSAS process, a common seat allocation system. Make sure you're registering yourself. The last date for the same is going to be 3rd of October. You still have time to register yourself for the same. Okay. Second, when the second phase begins, make sure that you're choosing maximum combinations that you can, right? Maximum colleges that you can, no matter north campus, south campus, or off campus, fill them all to be on a safer side, right? Another important thing about phase two, yes, as I said earlier, your sequence matters. So make sure that you are choosing the colleges in the right sequence. Yes, one more advice that I would want to give is on the website also. If you look at the official documentation of Delhi University, try to fill your forms, whether for phase one or phase two, on a laptop or a desktop rather than doing it from your respective phones. Because there are certain documents that you're supposed to upload. It constitutes of your 10th standard mark sheet, your 12th standard mark sheet, your if you belong to a particular category, so your category certificate. So you need to upload these documents. So it is a better process, it is a smoother process if you're doing it using a desktop, using a laptop. So prefer doing that. Go to a cafe, get it done if you don't have a PC at home, but do it using a PC only. Also, do not fill the entire form in a single go. Take your time. You have ample of time for the same. So don't rush in filling the forms. And yes, another very important thing that I wanted to tell all the students, there are a lot of YouTube channels going on around giving out false information. So make sure that you check your resources, make sure that you check your source of information. Only refer to the official websites of different universities, and authentic channels. Only trust the authentic channels of YouTube. I was just checking out when I was doing the R&D for this particular session, Tsunami. I came across there are so many people who have started their YouTube channels and they're just saying anything which is not even relevant. They are making students fill some form which is not even relevant, which does not even exist, right? So your source of knowledge has to be very, very correct, guys. Make sure that you're checking everything twice before doing it, because if one step goes wrong, it is not like your CUET form that you can recorrect. Once the forms are submitted, you cannot retrieve it, you cannot recorrect it, right? So keep that in mind. Talking about phase 3, there is time in phase 3, but phase 3, the seat allocation is not going to be like it used to be earlier, wherein you're reserving multiple seats in a single counseling. It is not going to be like that. You will have access to only a single seat per counseling round, per round of seat allocation. So choose, freeze your seats accordingly, be very wise about it. Do your research in advance for all the colleges, all the campuses, all the different branches, right? And the similar thing for central universities as well. Keep yourself updated. कब कौन सी university की registration window खुल रही है, make sure that you're registering yourself. Pretty much every central university is going to have the same kind of norm, but if there are any different kind of norms, we will keep you updated at Hitbullseye. That's our promise. We are here for that, right, Swanami? So any exiting words, any last words that you want to convey to the audiences out there?
No, ma'am, nothing more than this. We are already bored by the lectures.
Okay, so let's just have a quick glance at the questions quickly. We have received a couple of questions. I think we have pretty much answered all of them. The exam taking place this year is for current 12th graders. But there is no CUET exam taking place this year. For this year, the exam already took place in the month of July and August. It will take place probably in the next year for July and August for the people who are in 12th standard now. The people who will give their boards next year in March, for them, the exam will be in next year, CUET 23, in probably, most probably in the month of July and August only. So I've explained round 2 and round 3 again. Domicile play a role in seat allocation. There is, I think there might be, but we are not 100% sure about it. There is no official notifications about the domicile as of yet. So I would not like to give out any wrong information. So you'll have to wait for this particular thing, and it has time. The domicile part, or for that matter, even your category part, that will take place in the third round when the seats are being allocated to. So you have time for that. Wait for it. Okay. And for arts stream, tell me how to prepare at home and which subjects. So arts stream, see, it depends. You have a lot of variety in arts. You can take economics, you can take maths, you can take history, geography, endless amount of subjects you have. But like I said earlier, choose a domain. First of all, you need to know आप कौन से colleges target कर रहे हैं Delhi University में. Once you know what colleges you're targeting, look at their criteria. कि वो कौन से subjects allow करते हैं. Like for example, Swanami, she had a combination of PCMB, but then she knows that she is eligible for economics as well, because for economics you just can have any course specific domain. So you have to make a course selection in such a way. You have to set up a course, you have to choose subjects in such a manner that it works for everyone. It works for multiple colleges. We can talk about that in clarity once that exam appears, but as of now, that's all that we can do. So if you're liking the video, if you found something interesting in the video, something helpful, make sure that you're pressing the like button. Share this video with other people so that the information get dispersed to as many people as possible, right? Uh, uh, okay. So, like I said, Pache, the syllabus, everything for CVT next year will come out on its own. For now, my suggestion to you would be to prepare for your boards. Okay, focus on the syllabus that is provided to you for your board exams. And if there is any addition or detection, that will be discussed once the exam is nearby. Now, right now, you have ample of time for the same. Right, so focus on giving your 100% preparing for your board exams as of now, right? Prepare, focus on the syllabus, on that whatever topics that you're studying, make sure that you're studying them in depth so that you don't have to repeat it while you're preparing for the CVT exam. Okay, so I guess that is all. Swanami, thank you so much for being with us today. It was a pleasure to have you with us, our own student from Hitbullseye, right? Thank you, Tsunami. I hope our information, whatever we told today, was useful to all of you, right? And do, like I said, do subscribe to the channel, share it with as many friends as possible, because these are difficult times. A lot of people are in a lot of dilemma. So instead of knowing or giving out wrong information, like I said, trust your sources. Okay, choose your sources wisely. So if apart from that you have any other questions, any other queries, make sure that you post them in the comment section. We will be more than happy to help you out with it. Any further discussions, join a Telegram group and we will help you out there. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day, rather a good night, a happy weekend, and all the